Hello everyone and welcome back for another episode of Minecraft Bedrock Survival. In today's episode we're going to be having a look at one of the new blocks, the Composter. Now technically this will be my second time looking at this. As I suggested in the last episode we had a minor catastrophe. What I do is when I record episodes is I'll record several episodes at a time. And then just over the course of a week or so I will edit them. And because last week we had 7 new achievements, I recorded 12 videos all in the space of one day. And once I processed and uploaded our achievement videos, once I finished processing them, I then upload the data up to my server, just so I've got a backup of everything that we used. And then I delete the local files. And when I deleted the local files, I deleted all of the episodes that were unprocessed. So I have all the video footage from that, but I have none of the audio, and it would just be far more easier just to start everything from scratch. So I took a sort of a week off Minecraft after losing all those episodes, and now I've come back and we should have now. We're going to start doing these episodes and catch up because we desperately want to get onto Achievement Park. That's going to be a big priority, but there's a few episodes that I want to do just related to some of the new blocks and a few other things as well that I've come up with that I will technically be doing all over again. So anyway, let's get started. Let's have a look at this Composter block. This is one of the new blocks and I've been really excited to get this because I wanted to integrate it into our kelp farm, because our kelp farm has actually sat idle for the entire of 2019. I generated that much kelp from it, and the smelter turned it all dried kelp. The dried kelp then gets, it gets stored in the storeroom. I want to get a second use for it, and kelp can be converted into bone meal, which is what these composters are for. We can take organic matter and turn it into bone meal, but before we do that I'm going to quickly show you how to make one, if I can remember which chest I put them in. So we're going to build these from scratch. Now to build a composter you need slabs, and because you need slabs you will need 2 logs in order to get enough slabs. So turn those 2 logs into 8 planks. We will then turn those into 12 of the slabs, which then allows us to make this shape, which gives us our composter. So that all comes from one of those. Comes from 2 blocks of the logs. And the way these work is, you can come and you can put organic matter in, and eventually it will turn into bone meal. Now it's sort of a random chance as to whether or not it will. It will turn into bone meal. Now you have to build these up in different levels. So if I've got some blocks here that we can use. So I've got some oak leaves. I put those in there. You see, you get a level there. Let's put a few more. See, we didn't get anything there. Nothing there. Let's just keep on pressing. Might run out. Slowly, you see, it slowly builds up, and we've almost run out of leaves. There we go, almost. Maybe I should have brought more stuff with me. Of course, the different organic items have a different chance of producing. There we go. And then if we click that, we then get 1 bone meal. So let's just do that again. Maybe these kelp blocks might give us a little bit more. So you see the levels increase and then you get another one. Now with these as well, you can hook them up to hoppers, so you can put stuff in the chest here, or in our kelp farm our kelp line is going to be navigated into this, and as long as you bring the hopper has to go in through the top, and then you can extract the items from the bottom. So let's just pop a couple of items in. We'll just pop whatever I've got in there, and you can hear it working. And that's it. That was all the actual organic material that I had handy. There is one thing as well, is we have likes of the cod here. The meats don't work. It's only for like organic like vegetable sort of stuff, plants that we used up all of there. Or what we're going to use, if I just dispose of all the bits that we don't need, and actually we will, in order to make this fair tests, let's get rid of that. and put a fresh one down just because it would have had some more in it. So what we're going to do is we have two different designs we're going to look at. One is we're just going to feed a line straight into here and see how many we get. But because it's based on random chance, I was curious to know if we spread the load out. So we're going to put some kelp in the top there. When it comes down here, it'll be split between these two hoppers, which will drop it into here, which from this chest here, it will split between these two hoppers, which will put it in these two chests, which will then split it between these two hoppers, which will put it into these composters here. And I'm hoping that will generate some kind of extra chances of generating the kelp. We're going to do a couple of little experiments here, and then we're going to go to the kelp farm, which because I've actually already technically recorded this, I have actually already completed one of the massive tests over at the kelp farm and actually installed one of these systems in the kelp farm. So let's just go over here. We're going to grab, we'll do one stack just to start with. So what we're going to do is we're going to put one stack in here and one stack in there and see what we get back. So go one in there. You'll notice as well, you don't have to pay any attention to the redstone components out the back there. That is just simply to allow us to know when these chests are empty. So we've got one in there, and we'll see when these go out. So I've got the big ones already empty. How much is left in that one? Just a couple left in there. And you can hear it there, you can hear it processing those last few. Now, let's see, did we get any? Now, in this one, we have one piece of bone meal. And in this side, where we had the single unit, we had 3. Now, because we only had that single channel, if I was to go in here, now you can look at these composters and you can see lots of them are all at different levels. So there is actually more kelp which is held sort of in stock, waiting to become the bone meal. So what we're going to do is I will take these out of here and we're going to reset for a larger test. So I'm just going to pop those. What we had 3 in there and 1 in there. So what I'm going to do is to make this as well, to make this a fair test, I'm going to get rid of all of these so that these are now reset. So we'll get that out of there, pop that back in there, and you'll see that's got nothing in it. And the 8 here, so if I just crouch down, too close. So if we crouch down, we're just going to pop these here, and you'll see there, if I come back into the middle, all of these are now reset. So now we can do our second test, where I'm going to put an entire row of kelp in each of these. Alright, so we're going to start off, we'll just put them in this one to start with. So there we go, that's the first row on there. And then we will pop the next row in here, and then what we'll do is we will just simply wait and see how much kelp we get from this, and see what we get there. So that was 9 stacks of kelp. So let's see how long it takes now for the lights to go out. Actually, before we do that, if I come in here, you'll be able to see, if I just stand here, you'll see at least 5 of them, and you can see them slowly building up. And there you go, so you get the popping there. So it's as the load is being spread out, you can see it all going in different directions. So let's just wait here through the night and see how many we get. Just check that out. There's another wandering trait. I can't get rid of this Mr. Meeseeks everywhere. Whilst I'm waiting for that there, let's dispose of him and claim another set of llamas. Yep, there we go. And I've still got 2 more of the trader llamas, because they do have these nice patterns on them. I can't get rid of these guys. Mr. Meeseeks just keeps popping up absolutely everywhere. And the villagers as well. I don't know what's going on with them, because they keep on moving corners in the broken iron farm. I will have to come up with another design. I know that is it Doc M77 or whichever his numbers is. I can't remember his numbers on his name. He's just come up with a new design, and I'm curious curious, because obviously he plays Java, we will maybe do a little test of his in Bedrock to see if we can get it to work here. I tried one of the other methods that some other people in my testing world of getting an iron farm to work. It's a bit like not very practical, and to be honest, rather than it being an iron farm, it turned into a string farm. Because the villagers generated cats, and the cats were getting caught in the mechanism, and they were going through the lava, which is giving us lots of string. But we'll cover that in another episode. Looking at this, the big one has already emptied, and we still have quite a few there to go. So this side here is done. So right, we'll hang on a few minutes here, and we'll let them both catch up. And there we go. The light has finally gone out. There's still quite a lot kept kelp in the buffer there. So we'll hang on a little bit more. Wait until we can't hear it anymore. Right, I think that's it. Right, so now each of those is gone through. So this one went through a really whole lot quicker. So depending, I suppose, on what volume you want to do that, you'll have to take that into consideration as well if you wish to connect this sort of mechanism up to your kelp farm. So let's have a look at the individual one first and see how many we got. We got 29. So 29. Oh, actually, we'll pop that in here. 29 for a full row, so that's 9 stacks. And here we got 26, which actually bears out pretty much identically to the test that I did in the previous footage. I actually did 2 tests in the footage that was lost, or the audio at least that was lost, and that's pretty much identical to what we got in each of the tests. So this one here with the single track, you do get more, but it does take a hell of a lot longer, and you will also have the kelp will start to build up and back up. Whereas in this method, we won't get as much technically, because some of it is being held in like pending transformation in these blocks here. But I think overall, this one will generate. It will be a lot more efficient to have this little sort of like this waterfall-y sort of method. So right, what we're going to do now is I'm now going to go over to our kelp farm, and I'm going to show you where I've installed this in our kelp farm and how that links up. And because I've already done one test, I can actually, because I left the episode that we lost, I left it as I was going to leave the test running and then come back to it in the next episode, because it took the better part of the week just leaving it everything to AFK. So let's hop down here, and here we are down in the kelp farm. So the kelp, at the minute, the kelp farm is turned on because I needed to generate more kelp for this repeat episode. But if we go up here, oh, actually, before we do that, I'll show you here. This is the switch, which at the minute it's in dried kelp mode, which is fine. Get those out of my hand. We can flick it over here to bone meal mode, and if I come up here, you'll see the same array that we were just looking at over at the redstone testing warehouse. We have that here. And what happens is everything that, as it comes through here, this is where the kelp comes up, because this is where it meets the super smelter. So items will come in here from the kelp farm and it will get turned to dried kelp along here. At the moment though, when this piston is extended, the dried kelp, the normal kelp comes along here and gets dropped into here. And as it gets pushed down through these, and you can see there's already some compost built up in some of there, as things go through here, I get a little signal there to show that something has been generated, and the items come along here, and then they join the return pipe for the super smelter, and then from there it goes down into our massive storage system. So I'll show you next the kelp buffer. So if I just go through here, yep, down on this floor, as the kelp is generated, actually I'll come into the water so you can see it. If we just get it's not a beacon, it's the conduit effect, and if I just jam myself underneath these ladders right in the corner, we can see down here, and you can see the mass amounts of kelp that are being generated in here. So all this is going to be feeding into our bone meal production. So next, if I just fight my way out of here, all of that builds up and it all gets transported down into the kelp buffer. So you can see here there is actually loads more waiting to go in because it all just builds up and builds up because the hoppers can't transport it away fast enough. So let's go down here. There's a little set of chests at the minute. These chests here are locked so that we can't get anything else into the system. I'll unlock them in a few minutes once we've gone through this. So normally the kelp buffer would then come down here into here, and this was our which was supposed to regulate the kelp going into the super smelter, but unfortunately fortunately the kelp farm produced so much kelp that we didn't have to worry about having any wasted fuel in the super smelter, and 2, there was lag issues which stopped some of the systems from triggering. I've actually taken away some of the redstone parts. Eventually I'll probably dismantle this entire room just for parts. But if we go down further into the kelp buffer, you can see here, this is the system which extracts everything from the box really, really quickly. We have, maybe it's about 10 or so double sets of these hopper mine carts, and each of them allow you to very, very quickly empty that chest. So the capacity of these matches the capacity of that double chest up there, so that it could be drained really, really quickly. And then it all just feeds down into here, and then the buffer splits off then into 2 channels, which then we need to then from down here, because we are right down at the bottom, we are underneath our storage system here, and the storage system is 4 levels going up, and from here we then have to transport it back up to the super smelter. So with this system here was to extract it really, really quickly and then to send it back up to the super smelter. So each of these as well, if we just go into these droppers are completely full when the buffer is full. So we slowly go back up here. So all of this is all the kelp buffer. So back up here, you see now we're back on this machine level, and then this here is the kelp farm itself, and in here this is the return system for the return for the super smelter, and then also the return from the composters. And then under normal circumstances you see that it comes up here, and the kelp would then journey along here, and then depending on if this was activated, the kelp would then be passed into the smelter. And also there's a channel here, once the dried kelp storeroom is full, this here will activate, or rather this line here will deactivate, which will activate that torch, which then blocks any more kelp coming into the smelter, so that we maintain our levels of dried kelp. But anyway, let's pop the actually more things before we turn this back on. Let's just head on down into the storage system, because as I said, I've already ran this, and we had the kelp buffer full, which is approximately 78,000 kelp, and I let all of that drain through, and I can show you how much kelp, using that little waterfall model, how much kelp was generated. How much bone meal was generated from all that kelp. So from 78,000 kelp blocks, kelp like leaves, we got just shy of 1 double chest. We were just short the 5 more to make that a double chest of bone meal. So what we're going to do now is, well, just for the demonstration purposes to show you, I'm now going to unblock the this little section here, and you'll see the kelp starts to flow. It'll all pass down here. See it start to go down here. In a brief moment, we'll have something to eat whilst we wait. The kelp, here it comes. And if we click here, the kelp is now passing up. And we go a little bit higher. We'll get up here. And you can hear there, the kelp is getting turned into compost. And let's just let that run for a moment. So there's some getting harvested already. I get a little signal in my base to know that kelp is actually getting converted. And that will slowly work, and it will slowly drain the buffer. But what we're going to do now is, we're going to bring the episode now to an end because I think we've had a good look at the new composter block. You've seen how it's made and some different methods. What I'm going to do now is, which will probably take another week or so, is I am going to flick this back into dried kelp mode. But because it is turned off at the super smelter, we won't actually get any dried kelp, and I'm going to allow the buffer to fill once again over the course of the week. And then once the kelp buffer is full, the kelp buffer alarm will go off, and once that goes off, I'm then going to modify this build. And rather than it going through the 78,000 go through here, I'm going to have it go through just a single one. So this line here, I'll bring it straight down to here. And we will do a comparison to see how much we get. So we got just shy of a double chest's worth of bone meal from 78,000 kelp using the waterfall method. What we'll do is we will then see what we get using the single method, but that will be recapped in a later episode because it's going to take a week or so just to build up all the necessary materials and then to allow them to drop through this single unit here. So there we go. I hope you enjoyed that. Don't forget to rate, comment, favourite and subscribe, and join me next time in the next episode where hopefully we might either get back to Achievement Park or I will try and recap some of the builds that we lost in the great audio catastrophe. So there we go. Rate, comment, favourite and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.